Okay, so here we're going to have a look at the mean from a grouped frequency table. So I have a set of data here, and it's to do with the age of people in a particular population. So we have people from 0 to 10 years of age, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, and so on, up to 90 years of age. And we've sampled this particular population, and we found that 20 of those people were between 0 and 10 years of age, 21 people in our population were between 10 and 20, and so on. 23 were between 20 and 30. Now you can see here that we have a 10 in this column and a 10 in this column. We have a 20 in this column, a 20 in this column. So I'm just saying down here that, for example, 20 to 30 will include the 20. So if you're 20 years of age, you'll go into this column here. But if you're 30 years of age, you're not in this column, you're actually in this column here. There's a 30 here and here. So it's important to read this note underneath these frequency tables. So this is called a grouped frequency table because what we've done here is, for example, these 16 people here are somewhere between 30 and 40 years of age. We don't know the individual ages for the individual 16 people. We just know that these 16 people are somewhere between 30 and 40 years of age. So all 16 could be, for example, 30 years of age, or all 16 could be 35 years of age, or they could all be different ages between 30 and 40, born in different times throughout different years, between 30 and 40 years of age. But so what we're going to do anyway is we're going to calculate the mean of this grouped from this group frequency table here. Now, because we don't know the exact ages of the individual people, we say we estimate the mean. So if we had all 16 ages, for example, here, and all 11 ages, individual ages, and all 10 individual ages, and so on, we could just simply add up all those ages and divide by the total number of people. But since we don't know the individual ages, we're just grouping them into groups of ages, then we say we're estimating the mean. Now the formula we're going to use here is this one here. It's just this is the symbol for mean of a population, and we're going to use sum of fx divided by the sum of f. So what does this mean? Well, really what it means here is we're going to multiply our frequencies by our x and then add up all of those values, and then we're going to divide by what we get when we add up the frequencies. So which is which? Well, the number of people here, the number of people on the bottom here is called f. These are our f's, these are our frequencies. So the number of times something occurs is called a frequency. So 10 people, or you could say the number of times we found someone between 50 and 60 years of age was 10. So 10 is our frequency. And then our x's here, our actual ages, are in this row here. So this symbol here, sigma, is just a capital Greek letter for the sum of, or what you get when you add up. So in other words, we're going to add up all these f times x's. So in our particular case, we don't have actual individual x's. We have a range of x's here, from 70 to 80, from 80 to 90, from 60 to 70. So what do we actually multiply our f's by? Well, what you actually do is you work out what's called the mid-interval values for each of these groups. You look for the middle number for each of these. So let's just write that out. We'll call them MIVs, for mid-interval values. And the way you do it is you just add the 0 and the 10 and divide by 2. So 10 plus 0 is 10, divide by 2 and you get 5. It'll be fairly obvious here anyway, but this is what you do if you don't get kind of fairly easy numbers like these to do. So if you take 20 and 10, add 20 and 10, you get 30, divide 30 by 2, you get 15. So 20 to 30 is 50. 20 plus 30 is 50. Divide 50 by 2, you get 25. So you can see what's happening here. It's the halfway, the middle number between 20 and 30. 30 and 40 is going to be 35. Here's going to be 45. Here's going to be 55. Here's going to be 65. here it's going to be 75, and here it's going to be 85. So these ones were fairly easy to calculate. So what do they actually mean? They're the mid-interval values. So what we're actually going to use are these values here, these mid-interval values. So what we're saying is that, for example, these 11 people we are saying are 45 years of age. These 10 people are actually 55 years of age. These 7 people are 65 years of age. Now that's not in fact the case. We're just taking the middle number. These 7 people could be, or probably in fact, all different ages between 60 and 70 years of age. But we are saying, for the purposes of estimating this mean, that they're all 65 years of age. That's why we say we're estimating the mean. So let's do the calculation anyway. So underneath here then I'll just write equals. So we've got to multiply f by x. So this is our f now. This is our x now, I should say, here. So we're taking this 5 here and we're multiplying it by our frequency, which is 20. So in other words, 20 people were 5 years of age. That's what we're saying. So it's 5 times 20. Now this sigma here means we're adding. So we take the next one then. So it's going to be 15 times 21. So 15 times 21. Now it's actually 21 times 15. The f is actually the 21, and the x is the 15. We have them the other way around as in the formula here, but because multiplication is commutative, we can switch these around. Okay, next one then is 25, and we must multiply that by 23. Then we've got 35 times 16. Then we add that to 45 times 11. Then we add that to 55 times 10. You get the idea. It's 65 times 7. I'm going to run out of room here, I think. 75 times 3. I'm just going to come up here now. I'll put the last one up here, but it's on the same line here. It's 85 times 1, and we're adding this. This is down here. Let's put a line underneath this. We're dividing all this by the total number of people. By the total number of people. The total number of people that we estimated is the sum of what we get when we add up the frequencies. So in other words, 20, there were 20 people, there were 21 people, there were 23 people, and so on. 16 plus 11 plus 10 plus 7 plus 3 plus 1. Okay, so that's the hardest part really. We've got all our information into a big calculation here, into a big term here. So what we've got to do is actually work this out. Okay, so usually what you would do is just work out these brackets individually. So 5 20s, 100. 15 times 21, 315. 25 times 23, 575. Plus so on. 5755, 60 is next. 475. 550 plus 455 plus 225, and finally 85 times 1 is just 85. Put a line underneath, and when you add up the frequencies, then when you add up these here, you get 112. So we sampled, or our population rather, is 112. We looked at 112 people. So if you add up the top line anyway, you get 3360. Put a line underneath again, and we're dividing that by 1, 1, 2. And finally, that's when we divide that, we get 30. Okay, so what does that? That's 30 years of age. So what does that mean? Well, it means we go back to our table here. We have all these ages here. What's our mean age? If we added up all the ages and divided by 112, our mean age would be 30. So this age here. Now remember, this is an estimate because we don't know the individual ages of all of these individual groups here. Okay, so that's it for estimating the mean from a grouped frequency table.